Namaskaram. It's a great initiative by you. My question is regarding simple living. How can one be aware if one is truly happy with oneself? And following that is, what can one do to elevate one's happiness? Thank you.
Namaskaram. So the question is about simple living and happiness, how to elevate one's level of happiness. So when we think about simple living, it simply means we don't have any wants. When we start having wants and we start leading our lives around our wants, whether it is material or emotional or intellectual or whatever it may be, then it gets complicated. To keep it simple, we just live life like how a river flows, just go with the flow. And talking about happiness, the innate nature of any creation is bliss and peace. அமைதியும் ஆனந்தமும் தான் எந்த ஒரு படைப்போட இயற்கையான குணமாகும். So that bliss is always there within us. The problem is we think something from outside is going to give us that happiness. Yeah. So when something can give me happiness, so when something can make me happy, there is definitely something that can make me sad. So it's just a wheel. As long as I'm going to put the control outside, okay, if this happens, I'm happy. If this doesn't happen, I'm happy. Then I'm at the mercy of things that are outside. If I am aware of the fact that I have the bliss and peace within me, and it's an unending fountain, and I have reserves of it, then nothing from outside can give me happiness or give me sorrow. So the outside things do not affect me at all, right? And it is not something very difficult. You just have to become aware that within yourself, you're just peace and bliss. When you go to that state, then nothing from outside can disturb you. Yes, things will happen. Things, nice and nasty things will happen, but they will not dislodge you from that state of bliss and peace. Okay? So having understood this, when we become aware of that fountain of bliss within us, then the question of elevating oneself is not there at all, because we are always in that state of bliss.
ஒரு டவுட் மேம், வெளியில் நடக்கிற விஷயங்கள் என்னை பாதிக்காமல் இருக்கிற வரைக்கும் மேபி ஐ கேன் மெயின்டைன் த ஸ்டேட் ஆஃப் ஹாப்பினஸ் மேம். பட் வென் இட் அஃபெக்ட்ஸ் மீ, அப்போ அந்த ஸ்டேட் ஆஃப் ஹாப்பினஸ் எப்படி மெயின்டைன் பண்ணுறது மேம்? ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், ஒரு ஃபார்மர் இருக்காங்க, ஒரு விவசாயி அவங்க நிலத்தில் பயிர் போட்டிருக்காங்க. திடீர்னு பூச்சிகள்லாம் நிறையா வருது. அதை பார்க்கும்போது அந்த பூச்சினால் அவனோட ஈல்டு பாதிக்கும் அப்படின்றத ஃப்யூச்சரை பற்றி நினைக்கும்போது ஒரு அஜிடேஷன் வரதானே மேம் செய்யும். சின்னதாக இருந்தால் ஒரு அஜிடேஷனும், அதுவே பெரிய லெவலில் ஒரு பெரிய மழை அவனோட பயிர்கள்லாம் நாசமாகுது அப்படின்றத பார்க்கும்போது அந்த இம்பேக்ட் இன்னும் அதிகமாக தானே மேம் இருக்கும். அந்த கண்டிஷன்ஸ்லாம் எப்படி வி கேன் மெயின்டைன் த ஸ்டேட் ஆஃப் ஹாப்பினஸ் கூட வேண்டாம், ஹாப்பினஸ் இல்லை, ஒரு ஸ்டேட் ஆஃப் ஸ்டெடினஸ் எப்படி கொண்டு வர்றது மேம்?
When do I suffer a loss? When I have in the past really enjoyed my success or my profit. So profit varumbodhu I was riding high. So naturally when there is a loss, I'm going to go down. We're always looking at not losing the balance only when we are going down. We are not thinking of maintaining the balance when we are high up, right? So when the same farmer example you gave me, when he reaped a very good harvest, when there was abundance from his fields and all his whole, all his people who were working with him, his family and his whole village were happy. Appo and the balance irukkum. So when this happens, that is also bound to happen. So it is just a turn of events. We should be aware of that, whether it affects me personally or not. Now it's true, I agree when I say, okay, when it's happening for someone else, I can sit back and say such a thing. But when it actually happens to me, when I'm suffering a financial loss or I'm suffering a personal loss, I'm going through an emotional trauma, how do I not lose my equilibrium? Even before it happens, like I told you when we were talking about handling situations. So even before the situation is there, you get used to being in the midpoint, being within, being aware that good and bad can happen. Right? So when we keep the awareness at that point, then whether it's going to be, the crop is going to be damaged by rains or infested by insects, or it is going to give abundance to the farmer, it will not matter. Because that is just a question of time. Profit and loss is just a question of time. We see all around us companies that were roaring in profit. At some point of time, they will see the other side of the wheel, right? So we need to stay in that midpoint, not lose that equilibrium when we are going high up.